Hey guys, so today I'm going to talk about discipline when learning a new skill, like art for example. Sit back, enjoy, and hope you enjoy watching another one of my time-lapse paintings while you listen to me waffle about stuff that I think might be important and helped me in my art journey, so enjoy. So one thing that really helped me out when learning how to paint was creating a schedule, set amount of times in the day that I'm going to learn my craft. And I almost wrote myself out a curriculum, almost like, because I never went to university. I went to art college for 2 years. Felt really disheartened, to be honest. Didn't really learn anything about how to actually create the art that I love. I remember always asking my teachers, like, oh, check this concept art out for this film, like how did they create this? But it turns out most art teachers at college anyway aren't actually really good artists. They just know a lot about art history, but ask them about fundamentals, about light, shadow, values, composition, especially artwork in the entertainment industry, and they don't really know what to tell you. So I left art college feeling really disheartened about it all, mainly just about art history, as I said, which I weren't really interested in, to be honest. I just wanted to paint cool stuff, and I think a lot of people have the same experience, and it kind of makes them give up on art, because you kind of convince yourself that it's not really a viable career. But I'm telling you, it is. What I did was I created my own curriculum and created a long plan and a long list of things that I need to be doing every single day that's going to progress me in my art journey. So you have to study smart. There's no point. So there's two ways to studying. Like, the first mistake I made, because I knew I was good at painting landscapes, so all I did was paint landscapes all day, and that was pretty much my comfort zone. Got really good at it, but never really practiced figurative drawing or, learning how to rotate an object in my mind in 3D space. Didn't really do much sketching, no portraiture, couldn't really draw a face from memory. So what I did, I wrote a list of my strengths and weaknesses, and then stopped focusing on my strengths and started focusing on my weaknesses, which seems counterproductive, but what will happen is when you start focusing on your weaknesses, the strengths are already taken care of, but the skills that you learn, so the skills I learned through studying light and shadow, for example, and colour theory, then went on to improve my landscape work. Like, I thought I was really good at landscapes, but turns out it was just because I was comfortable doing them. So in reality, I wasn't really that good. If I look back at my old work, what I'll do in this video, I'll link up some of my old work versus my new work, and you'll see the difference. So again, this took many years of repetition. You need to figure out how to be disciplined. And it seems obvious, but if you just rely on motivation to study, like I remember being at school and like never wanting to do homework because I listened to the first thought in my head, which was normally, I can't be bothered. And that never went away in my adult life. I had to unlearn being lazy. I was so lazy when I was younger. It was unbelievable. No wonder I never succeeded much at anything. But once you start to realise that voice in your head that says, oh, we'll just watch some TV, oh, we'll do this instead. Your mind wants to do anything but what you're supposed to be doing, because what you're supposed to be doing is quite difficult. And most people just really can't be bothered. But what you've got to do, you've got to learn to ignore that thought and instead project into the future and just think, what will I achieve if I keep ignoring this lazy thought and then continue to go on this path, this journey towards this goal that I want to achieve, and then you know deep down what the right thing is to do. So yeah, discipline versus motivation. Motivation is rare, but discipline you can consciously do every day. So what I'm saying is, you need to practice art every day, no matter how you feel. Most of the time you're probably not going to be in the mood, or you're not inspired by anything. It doesn't matter. You've just got to get that pencil moving, or that pen or that stylus, get it moving every day, all day if you can, any spare moment. Which is why I'd recommend keeping a sketchbook. I'll probably make a video on sketchbooks at some point, but carrying a sketchbook around with you is great. If you're waiting for a flight, you're waiting at the airport lounge, you can just sit there and sketch what you can see, or just do some doodling from imagination. And it's all reps, and it all adds up to this skill that you're building. And it's not just art, it's any skill. You want to learn how to do anything. Again, I went over this in my first video. It's so boring, but the reality of learning a skill is super boring. You're going to be bored most of the time. You're going to be wanting to do other things all the time. There's more fun things to do than it's basically homework, isn't it? So yeah, but you've got to think about the future. Like, something that you do now, which is difficult and tedious, it always equals something great in the future. It's like, what's a metaphor? Like a diamond. How's a diamond made? It's like rock and sand bashed together, chaos over many years, and then eventually it forms a diamond. That's super cheesy, but it's the same thing. Like, it's every day your progress is going to be boring and uninspired. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have days that you feel like you're actually going backwards, but you have days like that as long as you keep putting the reps in. But I'll go back to creating a curriculum, like a work schedule. You've got to make sure you're learning in such a way that is going to improve your art overall. So like I said, I kept drawing landscapes. You need to, again, I keep saying fundamentals, you need to strip back and just learn those fundamentals. And it could be as simple as practicing drawing straight lines over and over again, practicing drawing circles over and over again. It's going to be really boring stuff, but it's worthwhile. I used to fill a sketchbook pretty much every couple of months. I'd have a sketchbook which is just stuff drawn from my imagination. It looks absolutely awful, but if you look from the start of the sketchbook to the end of the sketchbook, there was a slow progression. Another simple one is just doing a lot of studies, like artist studies or studies from photographs, trying to just capture the shape, capture the light. Another thing I can recommend if you're using Photoshop or any digital platform is to refrain, just do not use the color picker. I see a lot of people that use the color picker feature, picking from photos, picking from other artist paintings. You're never going to learn about color if you do that. Like, if you use too many tricks in your learning process, you're just cheating yourself. Some people would think, well, the tools are there, why bother? But trust me, just do things the slightly harder way, the way where you're learning to spot a color. You can look at a color and know exactly where it is on the hue scale, and exactly what value it is, exactly the amount of saturation. It's a good skill to learn, and again, it just stacks up with all your art skills, and then you just become a more well-rounded artist, and it actually just makes your job a lot easier in the long run. The more fundamental skills that you learn. If I see 3D artists or AI artists, and they come unstuck a lot of the time because they don't know how to fundamentally construct an image. So they get a comment from a client and, oh, can we turn that head around slightly or adjust the angle here? Like, if you don't know perspective or anatomy, you've got no idea how to do that. So trust me, you will last for years and years and years These things do not change. Trust me, they will never change. Even if they do change, it's really rewarding learning these skills, because the way the human mind works, you learn something hard, something that has sucked for years and years and years, you practice and practice and practiced, gives your life a sense of meaning, like you feel like you haven't wasted your life, you're here for a reason, and that's a good feeling. So mental health wise, if you're learning something from the ground up and you overcome these milestones, every milestone you overcome, it's like a dopamine hit. You're like, yes, that's good, that's something hard, and I learned it. I didn't think I could do that, and I did, and that's great. Yeah, let's say you've got to go to work during the day, 9 to 5. You've got to pick a certain time in the evening or the morning, whenever you got free time. I always suggest lunch times at your job. So you normally get an hour lunch break. Fill up a couple of pages in your sketchbook every hour. Over 2 or 3 years, that's going to equal a lot of drawings. But don't make the mistake. Most people just last a couple of weeks, realise it's too hard, they're not making progress, and then give up. It's like you don't plant a flower, sit there and stare at it all day and go, well, the flower hasn't grown, it obviously doesn't work, I'll give up. No, it just takes a long time. I hate to use another cheesy metaphor, but it's true. And creating that schedule for yourself is really important. I always had this thing that I always told myself, if I write it down in my phone or in my notebook, if I write down that I'm going to do something, like I'll write, do a page in the sketchbook today, or paint a portrait today, that is a promise I've made to myself, and I have to keep it. Like, I've built it up in my mind that it's so important. If I write something down, it's got to be done. And it actually works. It helps. It builds your character as well, because you're not lying to yourself. Like, so many people make promises that they don't keep, or say they're going to do something, don't do it, say they're going to go somewhere, never turn up. It helps you practice that. I said I'm going to do something, and I did it. Doing the thing. Just write the thing down, do the thing. Listen to your thoughts about it. Oh, no, we'll do it tomorrow. I don't need to do that, it's stupid. Oh, it's going to be rubbish. Just sit there and listen to those thoughts and be like, that's not me. The real me wants to do this. I know it, because if you didn't really want to do it, you wouldn't feel this guilt or this pressure. It's just, again, the monkey mind trying to allow you to go through life without any struggle. You've just got to learn to ignore that. And it's gonna feel hard. Like, you're gonna feel resistance. You're gonna feel this resistance fighting against doing something that's difficult, but trust me, after you overcome that, the initial resistance to doing the thing, you are left with a feeling of pride, and you're just happy. You get a nice little reward afterwards. You're like, I didn't want to do that, but I did it, and that feels good. So I always wrote down how I felt, like before I was going to do something, like a task that I couldn't really be bothered. I always write down how I felt before. So that was unmotivated, intimidated, anxious even, tired, and then how I felt after doing the thing. So after going to the gym, and it was always felt happy, accomplished, relaxed, etc., etc. And so then I had a list in a book of every time I didn't want to do something but did it anyway, and how I felt afterwards. And 99% of the time, it always led to something positive afterwards. So you've got to remember that. This talk is starting to go away from art a little bit, so I do apologise. But yeah, I said it was going to be a bit of a ramble, didn't I? So yeah, hope you're enjoying watching my time lapse anyway. But yeah, that was just another little ramble by me. See you in the next video. Promise it'll be a little bit more scripted and to the point, but hey ho, who cares? Is anyone actually watching these anyway? I don't know. Peace.